Journeys with Jason George, a visit to Speaking of Wildlife Sanctuary. Today's journey doesn't actually start today. It actually started back in 2019 when I was called to a lady's garage by my friend Anne, who told me that I needed to save a sandhill crane. Don't worry, I didn't know what it was either when I got the phone call. But I showed up at this lady's garage and there was a sandhill crane in it. And they asked me to put it in a box, and then we were going to release it in a field that I had scouted out, and it had 1,000, if not more, sandhill cranes in that area. So the hope was there. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was driving down this road, and I had a sandhill crane in my backseat. And I was getting ready to meet up with Mel and Anne, and we released the sandhill crane, and it was a magical moment. But unfortunately, it flew back to us, and we had to chase it around this 100+ acres of property. But we managed to chase it and get it into an area that we figured out a plan, and I stood there and I was ready, and I got it. I actually got it. Back in the box it went, and off to Shades of Hope before coming back to Speaking of Wildlife for its final home. And this is what sandhill cranes look like when they're out in the wild. They are about the size of a great egret or great blue heron, 3 feet tall with a razor sharp beak. I love listening to the birds during mating season. They're so beautiful. But as we head to Speaking of Wildlife, we see one snowy owl, and then we actually see a second snowy owl. Oh, this could be a good day. What a beautiful drive. So many different landscapes that we drive through. Well, I'm getting close to the wildlife place, and I honestly have no clue what to expect. What animals will they have? Will the sandhill crane remember me? It's been like 2 years. Well, this should be an interesting day because I think they have a lot of cool animals, but you never know till you get there. This place is cool. I love this little sign they have. Oh, I get a really cool vibe about this place.
The building and our lean-to enclosures are, they all have indoor-outdoor spaces. So anybody that you can't see right now is probably locked inside.
Yeah.
With the animal, some characteristic about them. Hawthorns are prickly, porcupines are prickly.
That's so cool.
So Hawthorn was actually born in captivity.
Oh, okay.
The facility they came from didn't do the math appropriately, so they had 2 females and 1 male. They knew 1 female was going to have a porcupine, a baby. They didn't know both were pregnant.
Oh. So is that the porcupine making that noise?
Yeah. So because he was raised by people, this guy's like quite confused. He might actually come right up to the fence and give you a totally different show. He might try to urinate on you.
Oh.
And now he's going to pee on you.
Like, will he shoot it at me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Why does he... Is that like marking territory? Does he like me?
It's
or
a mating behavior typically.
Oh, so he's attracted to me.
Yeah. Is imprinted on us and is quite fond of his human visitors.
Well, so like what's he doing now?
As far as we can tell, Hawthorn is a bit of a show-off in that when people are around and paying attention to him, he picks stuff up and he carries it around. The majority of our animals have come from rehabilitation settings these days, but some come from captive settings. This guy, his name is Ocellus, and Ocellus is a bobcat who was born in the pet industry.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, obviously, that's not where he belonged or where he was meant to be. Facility actually here in Ontario decided to go down and bring a few bobcats or lynx back for their programs.
Oh, okay.
And when they got down there, they didn't like the facilities or the way that the animals were kept, as well as their purpose. So they decided to bring as many cats as they could home in order to place them in facilities that were licensed and that could care for them properly.
Oh, you're beautiful. So it's hilarious because I've always wanted to see, like, I've never seen a Canadian cat. Here we see a kind of timid gray fox that ducks behind the bushes to take a better look at us, but be a safe distance. Not as friendly as Maverick, the gray wolf. Oh, look at how big it is.
This is pretty unique. He's not normally at this interested or playful with strangers. So this is Maverick, and he is our gray wolf. He was born at the Halliburton Wolf Center.
Okay.
The year he was born, the pack was undergoing a bit of a hierarchy shift or a disturbance of some kind, and unfortunately that meant that the pups, instead of being cared for by all pack members, were being dispersed throughout the enclosure when they were less than 2 weeks old. So their eyes weren't open, their mobility wasn't great.
Okay.
Basically left to perish, which in their enclosure they have 9 acres and only about an acre of it is visible. In this particular case, the pups were right there visible to staff and to visitors. So they left them to see if the pack would smarten up and go get their pup. Proper measures to make sure that they had a home if not.
Mm-hmm.
So they called us and said, hey, we've been watching you. We like what you do. Would you like a wolf? And I was building the center at the time. She was rescued from the fur industry. So she's actually going to be 13 years old in the spring. So she's sweet little girl, but she's getting up there in age. She's got arthritis and she's gone deaf. In the fur industry, they can increase their odds, obviously, by reproducing silver foxes with other silver foxes.
Yes.
So both obviously carrying the gene and therefore creating more silver foxes in the long run.
I didn't even know that silver foxes or melanistic foxes were a thing until maybe last year when I saw my first one. Now I've seen my second one. What beautiful red foxes these are. But without further ado, that's Atticus's future home. Well, outdoor home.
Hey, Atticus. I saw that coming.
Hey, buddy. Do you remember me?
You're talking an awful lot, Atticus.
Very cool. A loud boy.
Aw, I think he actually remembers who I am. I'm glad that he's not mad about this move. Unfortunately, his hair color isn't as bright as it was, but that sometimes happens in captivity. But on to another animal that maybe some of us hardly ever see, the skunk. We probably smell them more than we hear them. But this one was a little bit busy. Here's an animal that we all know.
So Rocket here came to us at 5 weeks. We're just over that.
Oh, this might be one of my favorites. Wink, the northern saw-whet owl, only has one eye. It's got a bad eye.
Yeah, so she was hit by a car as well, we think. She was found on the side of the road.
And just when I thought I was done, they take me into this room that has turtles and snakes. Oh my.
That's Sam, he's a snapping turtle. Coco, our snapping turtle. So Coco was found when she was a baby or when she was a hatchling. That's Burnaby. Burnaby came from British Columbia, who she was found crossing the road. But wood turtles are not native to the province of BC, so they didn't belong there.
And there's a little snake hiding in the background.
Our friendliest turtle behind the murkiest glass. That's Oliver. Oliver was actually removed from her mother because her mother was hit and killed on the road. And so they removed the eggs to incubate them and hatched a whole bunch of turtles that ended up being education ambassadors in various places like the Mitchell Parks and other parental education companies. And that was back in 1995.
Cool.
Yeah. She's an old lady now, but young for a turtle.
This little guy is a spotted turtle, and he's so cute and active that there's no way that I couldn't give him a little bit of YouTube time. Turtles are awesome. I love seeing them in the wild more, though. But, ooh, that's a fairly large snake. I'm going to just stay on this side. And then we go to the front room, or the office. And there's a bunch of animals. There's this chipmunk who's just hanging out. They have all kinds of animals here. Chipmunks, bobcats, wolves. Oh, they've got a sandhill crane. This place is amazing. Can't wait to come back. So the sad thing about having a pet bird is they tend to often outlive their owners. This one's outlived their owners, and then the owners after that, and now it starts picking its own feathers out. Well, let's just keep swimming through life. That's the advice this turtle gives me. Or maybe he's just trying to get rid of me and telling me to go. Well, it was nice to meet you. I'm going to head home. The ride home was an absolute hoot. I saw this beautiful female snowy scanning the horizon for prey. I left her and found this other snowy. She was sitting in a tree, a little further in the distance. But I love that I got to see them not on a light post, because they're not as exciting on a light post to me. People think seeing a snowy on a light post is easy, though. Right? Look at the light post. There's a snowy. Do you see it? Okay, well, let's try it again. Another snowy. Another light post. Right? Look at how well they blend in. Imagine trying to find an all-white snowy on the ground. Like, that looks just like a snowball until the head moves. Thank you, Speaking for Wildlife, for having me today. It was an amazing day. Stay safe and have fun.